Welcome to Nexus Edge, the show that helps you get an edge on your competition. I'm, of course, Turd Herder, and today, what you're all probably here for is the Division C recap for Week 3, Season 9 of NGS. So I know I'm excited. Ryokai, I know you're excited. How the heck are you, my friend?
Working? Hello? There we go. Doing good.
Now it's working.
Yeah, we had a bit of a rough week. We lost, but otherwise, I'm excited for Div C. The best division, of course, objectively.
Of course. Maybe. We'll find out. I mean, that's what we're here to discover. I know we have a lot of Div C people in the chat. I see Dontris. I think that person is Dershane, Cavalier. They're all here. Lots of Div C people. So let's just jump right into it because I know we got a lot of stuff going on today. Let's start with our deep dive into Division C East. So if you want to start it out, why don't you go for it?
Sure. So first team we're going to talk about here, Lubu. Long staple NGS team. They've been around forever. They are sitting third on the standings at the moment. They've got 3 games compared to the first place teams. They're 3 games back, I think is like the term for that. And they've got a map score of 6-1. So they've had a 2-0 domination over World Hunger Avoidance team, who's currently sitting at the top of the standings point-wise. And then the team themselves, they've added Spoticus and Pseudokin, which are 2 players that have been playing in some higher divisions, Div B, Div A, I think even for Spoticus. So that like higher division experience is probably helping them out a fair bit in doing pretty well in Div C East so far this season.
Absolutely. And another team that you see there or saw there at the top of the standings was Wood League, another NGS staple for Division C. I think as far as I've known NGS, they've been in Division C and they are still there. Similar to Lubu, they're currently sitting at about 7 points after 3 games with a 6-1 map score, which is definitely a very good start to the season. They beat 3 teams who are currently at the bottom of the standings, however. So they have yet to kind of have a statement win, a win against a team where they kind of say, yeah, we're here, we're at the top, and we deserve it. Definitely can relate to that a bit. Their matchup against World Hunger Avoidance team is tonight, Tuesday, and that will be a huge test for them, obviously, with World Hunger Avoidance team being at the very, very top of the current standings. And that's probably a good way to kind of see if they're going to be a real contender for the top of Division C East. And definitely something to watch out for. So if you have time tonight, definitely catch that. I don't think the game of the week is tonight, right? No, that's tomorrow. Okay, good. I was just making sure I wasn't like double booking stuff like that. So very nice. There was actually another team I saw on there and a team that I'm familiar with. It's a team that got elevated up from Division D last season, and that's Ban Show. What I want to specifically talk about in Ban Show here is actually Quinnell, I think is how you say it. That's how I say it, at least. And when you have a ranged player like Quinnell or a ranged DPS player like him that can play different heroes, it gives you, the drafter and the captain or whoever's doing it, a lot of options when it comes to team compositions. And Quinnell has played 6 different ranged assassins in 8 games with a mix of AA and mage. So kind of definitely showing that flexibility in composition for his team. And he has the second average damage at 66,000 and second in damage per minute at 3,000 damage per minute, and third in average takedowns of 12.9 per game. So definitely that's someone that's right, they're still at that 7-point mark, so right in the middle. Glad to see them doing good, Bancho overall. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to do the rest of the season. So what did you have? Do you have anything else for C East?
Yeah, we have another player here. I got the harder name, MZ17. We'll just go with that. So similarly to having a DPS player with a wide hero pool, having a flex player, it's kind of in the name, who can flex into multiple different heroes, things like that. Definitely also a big asset, or even multiple roles across the team, also pretty good. So MC17 from Team Death and Delay, they've had 3 healer games, they've had 3 tank games, and they've had another game where 4 other games where they've not played tank or healer. So yeah, so on some of the tank games, they've played Tank Varian, so they're even playing like some weird tanks in the tank role kind of thing,
Yeah.
or less meta tanks. So yeah, he's doing good on average healing and average damage taken for both of those roles in the division so far. He's got good heals per minute, he's got good damage taken per death, so the stats are kind of backing him up that he can play not only just tank, not only just healer, but he can play both, and he can play both well, even comparing to the rest of the division. So he's not a jack of all trades, he's a master of multiple trades. So shout out there to Z17.
Absolutely. And I see Dontras in the chat, who is one of his teammates, giving him a shout out or just saying, congratulations to him. So I'm sure being on his team, that's something. Being able to play all those roles is great. So definitely, probably gives their drafter a little bit of ease being able to do that. So let's go on to C West. Do you want to take this first one, or do you want me to?
Sure. So C West amateur opponents. They are knocking out those games early. I like it. They've played 6 out of their 12 matches so far of the season in the first 3 weeks already. So got the 3 flex matches out of the way, I think, already. Doing good. Fully on board and supporting that. They've got 15 points in the 6 games. So they're also not only just playing the games, they're getting the wins.
They're doing winning things.
4 dominations out of 6 matches so far. They've lost against Better Than Bots, who is also currently sitting second in the standings so far. But they're playing the games, they're getting the wins. This looks like a strong team. They'll probably end up in, I would guess, like around a top 3 finish here. And, if they keep playing games and having the rest of the division chasing them, that might maybe have other teams kind of focus a little more on scouting to bring them down a notch or whatever. But if they keep winning, they could end up as even the number 1 seed. So definitely a strong front-runner team so far in Division C West.
Absolutely. And I do want to take one quick step back really quickly. Death and Delay and Ban Show, I think we're playing this week or next week. So that was a C East team. They're going to be kind of heading up together, both teams with 7 points. So we'll see who's going to come out on top. Thursday, Dontra says. Thank you very much. All right. So going back to C West, speaking of Better Than Bots, the current second place team, they finished in 4th place last season. With the top 2 teams of this division in Season 8 moving up, they're obviously the clear favorites here. But Better Than Bots is looking to challenge amateur opponents for that title. Obviously, they have less games played, so who knows? Maybe they already have it, so to speak. They were edged out of a victory over amateur opponents last week. They currently have 10 points after 4 matches. Quick math, that sounds a little bit better than amateur opponents, but obviously with amateur opponents taking that win off of them, that does it. They have a relatively easier schedule in the next couple of weeks, so they should stay near the top of the standings as well. So that should be pretty good. I'm going to talk about this first player here. It's someone that I am intimately familiar with, a former Division E moderator. So it's not the current Division E moderator. This is, of course, Weenus out of Clouded Minds. The team seems to be maybe potentially struggling a little bit right now, but Weenus on the team is actually putting up numbers, huge damage numbers. They need to turn some of this damage into kills, push for the advantage, get the objectives, etc., etc., etc. But in 7 games, Weenus has an average of 70,000 hero damage, which is second in all of the division, and a damage per minute of 3.5k, which is first in the division. Which if he can keep putting up those numbers and his team can kind of catch up behind him, definitely something to watch out for in Cloud and Minds. Maybe take a look at what heroes Weenus is playing. That's something that could help you to play against Clouded Minds. So definitely something interesting. Why don't you talk about this last player here?
I feel like we're missing the squeaky chicken noises.
I have it. Hold on. You go ahead. I'll do it later.
Okay. All right. We'll power through. Okay. So from Team Resurgence of the Storm here, I wanted to shout out Kenster. So this is a healer. There we go. Perfect. Okay.
Got it.
This is a healer. They're always going to be around. They're healing your team. They're going to help your team out, accomplish stuff on the map. They have a 98% kill participation so far. They've got the highest average healing of 83,000 so far per game. The second best healing per minute at 4,000, and the third best KDA at 12.9. So he's played 3 Lucio games and 2 Stukov games so far. So he is definitely helping out Resurgence of the Storm to sit near the upper, like half-ish of the division, upper third maybe, and putting out the strong, solid healer carry performance so far. Love to see it.
Absolutely. And before we move on, I do want to give a quick shout out to Jinxie Cat. Thank you for rating us right after your stream. Appreciate it. This is, of course, Nexus Edge. It's a show about NGS and all of the competition. This week specifically, we're going over Division C, East, West, everything Division C. So if you have friends in there, this is definitely a time to hang out. We were actually just talking about Weenus. If you, I'm not sure if you caught that. I know he's a good pal of yours. And of course, we had the excellent Bahamut clip multiple times. Shout out to our producer really quickly, Linehouse, for putting those up there. He's the other person in NGS with a better red beard than me. So I think that's facts. So yeah, Weenus is your best friend. There we go. So without further ado, let's move right along. So Rio, you actually went through the division a little bit, took a look at some of the cool stats, some things that you found interesting. So why don't you talk about some of those right now?
Sure. So just a couple of quick notes as far as like overperforming, underperforming heroes getting a lot of bans, not a lot of bans, stuff like that. First off, we've got Zeratul. He's sitting 91% win rate, 10-1 so far. He's the 10th most banned, so he's slipping through, And when he is, he's getting the wins. So shoutouts to Zeratul. Sylvanas also doing pretty well, 69, nice win rate, 25 wins,
Nice.
11 losses. The 11th most banned, so just shy of Zeratul there, getting picked a bit more. Imperius, also a strong hero. He's 10-4, 71% win rate. Yeah. So those are some heroes doing good, some heroes doing not so good. Ana, she's pretty popular, 6th most banned even, getting a lot of bans, but she's only 8-14, 36% win rate. Not really getting the wins out of Ana there. Sonya, also 6-12 so far, 33% win rate. Not super popular, not getting banned a whole lot, but she's always kind of been like a staple offlane hero that you can normally go to, but doesn't look like she's being too successful so far. So one last note here, because I've found this kind of weird and interesting, was there's 3 heroes that have gotten banned all the exact same amount of times. I forget what the number is, but it's some number. They're all the exact same. And it's Rexar, Jaina, and Leoric. And
Popular
Rexar,
heroes.
Yeah, sure. Like meta heroes, you see them pretty commonly. Most people in those roles can play those heroes. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Like,
Right.
It makes sense. But Rexar has a 72% win rate. He's doing good, 8-3.
Perfect. Great.
Jaina and Leoric, not doing so good. They're getting 29% win rate on Jaina. She's 10-24. She has like triple the amount of games or something. 30% win rate, below 30% win rate. Leoric, 10-18, 35% win rate. So they're all getting banned at the same amount. So more bans on Rexar, probably less on Jaina and Leoric would be my suggestion. So just a weird little thing I noticed in the stats there.
No, it's great to bring it up. And you actually took a look at some of these other stats, so I'll be presenting those. The team, so in Division C, the team who first took the Dragon Knight has a 100% win rate across 6 games. So if you're looking to win on Dragonshire, get that Dragon Knight. That's all it takes. Easy. That's how you win. That's facts, apparently. And then also 80% win rate first to Volskaya and first to the Tomb of the Spider Queen's objective, and that's 15 games each. So on both maps, and that's 12 wins, three losses per first to take objective. So definitely showing. I think that's intuitively something we know, but on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and maybe you can talk to this. It's kind of unintuitive because that first spider can sometimes happen a little too early to really get a lot of value. So what do you think's going on there, if anything?
Well, I think you're right, and so I think what's happening is with the tower changes is that the first spider is happening later. So it's actually better now, would be my guess. That maybe people are getting more gems before the first teaming even ever happens. It's pretty easy to stall. Like, it
So maybe
just
the first
take a while.
spider is really the
Yeah,
old
it's like
second
first
spider.
and second kind of at the same time.
Okay.
because you just have built up so many at that point or something, or you get like 2/3 of the way there on the second one, and then the first one gives you the second one kind of thing. So that's what I assume is happening. People are probably closer to getting level 10s. A team might get an XP lead off an early kill or something, and then they're using that to snowball it a bit harder. I don't know. I would be guessing there kind of but that would be my guess as to what's happening, possibly.
Interesting. I want you to talk about this next stat here.
Yeah, so currently in Div C, we've got 4 teams still that have a 100% win rate with first pick. So first pick, Mac pick, you've got the coin flip, depending on whether you win or lose the game. Sometimes it's a little bit out of your control. But when you do get first pick, or when you do get the choice, probably take first pick for yourselves, or maybe figure out some better maps to go against these teams. Ban Cho, Resurgence of the Storm, Wood League, and Zirconium League. All 4 teams, 100% win rate with first pick so far. So, yeah, definitely something to keep in mind when you're planning for a match or scouting one of those teams potentially.
Well, I
Send
know
them to
there's
a
a
map that they
couple.
haven't played yet.
Exactly. And I know there's a couple amateur opponents, folks in here. They're playing Resurgence of the Storm this week. Keep that in mind, potentially. That could be helpful. And speaking of that match, boy, do I have something to talk about right now. It is the game of the week, none other than the Division C West Resurgence of the Storm versus amateur opponents, coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, at 10:30 Eastern time. And that's going to be an excellent match. Of course, we've talked about both of these teams at some point today. That's going to be, of course, right here on this channel, on the Nexus Gaming Series channel. And I think it's going to be casted by Murda and Slexia. I'm not sure if both of them are doing it. I know last week was Slexia and Pals, so we'll stay tuned for that information. But yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about Resurgence of the Storm, and I'll take a stab at talking about amateur opponents.
Sure. So Resurgence of the Storm, they're a new team in NGS this season. They've had a pretty strong showing so far. They've beaten Team Training Wheels 2-0. They've got a 2-1 victory over Annie Oak League. They've got 2 matches this week. So they beat currently chasing Samuro last night, and now they're sitting at the 6-1 map score, heading into the Game of the Week showdown here. A quick shout out here for one of the players on Resurgence of the Storm, player Perseus. They are a tank player, huge key part of the team, big part of their success so far. He's second in damage taken in Division C at 84,000. He's the first in damage taken per death, so 68,000. The second place is only 46,000, so almost like a third or 2/3 of that value. So
Yeah,
pretty huge margin of difference there. He's always in the middle of fights. He's always in those skirmishes. He's staying alive the whole time. He's staying there, being that front line that his team needs, getting the pocket for his DPS players. He's also second in KDA. He's got 13.3 in C West so far, so definitely a big part of their success in Resurgence of the Storm.
absolutely. And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about amateur opponents. Of course, we've talked a little bit about them earlier. It's worth noting this team does have 3 members from the top Division D team in Bloodfin Murgles. I forget, and of course, you guys are in chat. You can remind me. I don't know if you guys were top or if you were close to the top. I forget exactly how that went down. But those 3 returning members came up, started amateur opponents, added a couple friends and pals, and of course, as we talked about, they are at the top right now. And it's great to see them doing well so far, especially only taking 3 teammates from that old team. And looking at their schedule, this might be their toughest opponent left on the list. So if they can get the win tonight, they have a chance. They have a chance to hit 30 points on the standings. That's a lot of points. I have a feeling that's a typo, but if you guys get the win today, or tomorrow rather, that's obviously going to give you plenty of points. And with this being your toughest opponent, that's going to be an excellent opportunity, setting you up very well for the playoffs going forward. And she's in the chat, Butte Holiday. She's a consistent healer. She's mentioned today that she likes to play Ana. She can bring her team to a whole nother level, likely one of the reasons why they're at the top. She was a sub for a Division A team several seasons back. I believe that was Gimme the D Shield back in season 7, maybe 6. Now in season 9, being in Division C, she's using those skills that she learned playing with Rexpa and others back in A, and she's near the top of all the different healing stat categories. And one of the reasons why her team is doing so well this season. She has a 68,000 average healing over 13 games with a healing per minute of 3.6k. Her main healer choices are Anduin, Stukov, and of course, as mentioned, Ana. So definitely something to keep an eye for. I'm going to be tuning in. I think it's going to be a great match, especially against two hopefully really great opponents, and we'll go from there. So anything else to add on the game of the week, Ryokai?
Well, I think the 30 points, I don't think that's a typo. If I'm correct, a domination in every all 12 matches should be 36 points. So it's like technically possible. I want to say like the highest most teams I've ever seen are like at 30, 31, 32-ish range. So 30 points is like, it's barely possible, but you have to be a really dominant team to get up there. So,
well, especially in these bigger divisions, C, D, B, I think is also probably potentially up there too. Getting those 30 points, I guess that's probably not a typo. So we will tune in tomorrow and we'll find out if they're on their road to 30 or less. So let's move on to our final topic of the day. Special Div C mostly. What do I want to say? Div C themed bronze or GM. So let's start it out here. We've picked the 4 major roles across Heroes of the Storm, and we've picked the 2 highest win rate heroes, and we're going to play bronze or GM. And being in Division C, you know, there's still some silver players lingering around. This is right around. Are we going to figure out, is this bronze or is this GM? So let's start it out. We have the tank role. We have Muradin with 64% across 11 games, and Tyrael, a little surprising for me, at 63% across 8 games. So why don't you start this one out?
I think my pick's going to be Tyrael. He's a bit less common for tanks, but he brings some unique stuff to the table. Holy Ground, Sanctification, always good for like stealing camps or bosses. Judgment's also pretty good. I think Sanct is the bigger key there, though, especially with Rhaegar and all the Bloodlust shenanigans going on.
Yeah,
either using that offensively or defensively is probably both pretty effective with that. So, yeah, I'm going to say Tyrael. Tyrael is less common, but I think he's pretty good.
You know, and I think across all of HOTS, he's definitely less common, but with 8 games versus Muradin with 11, I think that's showing they're pretty popular. And I'm actually also going to go Tyrael. I think Muradin has his place. Obviously, he's getting played in this division. But I do like you were saying, the offensive, the defensive abilities of Tyrael. I think Muradin has his place. He's got those stuns, but unlike some of the other tanks, and Tyrael, Tyrael doesn't have this. Unlike some of the other tanks, he doesn't have that kind of point and click CC, right? And that can be a disadvantage for your team. I know Tyrael also doesn't have it. He of course does have his ult. I think it's Judgment, right? But I think the real reason, as you were pointing out, is Sank. I mean, that's you can turn a fight the exact opposite way with that skill. So good stuff. Let's move on to my favorite role. This is going to be the Bruiser / offlaner role. We have 2 heroes here. We have Rexar with 73% win rate on 11 games, and Shen with 71%, 7 games. And again, shout out to Linehouse for these excellent pictures for these 2 heroes. I'll start this out. No question. Easy pick, Rexar. You got 2 heroes. You have ETC on a bear, and you have Valo on a Rexar guy. It's easy. You just kill people. That's how it works. I know people like the Borzult. I'm not a huge fan of it often, unless my team is lacking in CC or if it's something I really need. I like the Bestial Wrath. I also like to play him on maps where you're going to get value with that, where you're going to do the one-on-one solo dueling kind of situation where the Bestial Wrath is going to pick up. That's my pick. Sticking to it. What do you got to say, Rio?
I wonder how much is related to the Dragonshire 100% Dragon Knight win rate on that.
Maybe.
It's pretty hard to win that top point against a Rexar, so you probably guarantee your team the victory there, and then that might boost your win rate a little bit. But
But with 11 games, I mean, he's got to be. That can't all be Dragonshire because
There's some Braxis games too.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that's true. Okay.
Okay. But my pick, I'm gonna pick Chen. As a DPS player, the Rexar, that's just 2 more targets to hit. Well, 1 more target, but it's 2 targets to hit. It's more damage. More damage is good. Chen, though, he staggers all your damage. I feel like you just hit him, you keep hitting him, you keep hitting him. He's still alive. He's still drinking.
He'll be alive for a while.
Yeah, yeah. And then Barrel. Barrel, like, people sleep on Barrel. Barrel is very annoying and very disruptive. And
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten killed too many times by Barrel. So, Chen, by the nature of being more annoying for me to play against, is my pick.
And with the new tower changes, I think the Barrel pushing folks into your little towers is big game. You could do a lot of damage to people, keep them there. It's like a mini gust for 1 or more people, plus just the disruption in general. So not going to argue that that's a bad pick. So, all right, let's go on to healer. These are 2 interesting healers. We have Rhaegar at 65%. That's 20 games. So definitely a lot of games on Rhaegar this season. And Brightwing at 60%, 15 games. I need time to think. Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you pick one?
All right. Well, I'm gonna do the cheater like sort of double pick here because
Boo.
I want to say Brightwing because I think people have been sleeping on Brightwing forever. Like I think she's actually really good. Bribe on a global just in general is really good, but Brightwing herself, if you play against a good Brightwing, she feels like impossible to kill, especially with Blink Heal. Like you just can never actually catch up to her or finish her down. And Polymorph, really annoying, but I gotta say Rhaegar because yeah, the popularity speaks for itself. The win rate speaks for itself. More games and higher win rate. He's just controlling the whole game right now. He's getting bans everywhere. People are building comps around him. Bloodlust is kind of insane, especially at level 20. So, gotta pick Rhaegar. But I want to champion the Brightwing cause while I'm doing so.
Fair, and I can't argue with that. Plus, you're healing without hitting any buttons. Big fan of that. Don't have to hit buttons, and I'm doing my job. Perfect. But I got to go with Rhaegar. I do have a question. So I don't have much more to add, but I do have a question. Why are we seeing more Bloodlust comps? I mean, that for the last couple seasons I've been in NGS, that, you kind of get that once in a while meme comps kind of thing. But now it seems pretty standard. You kind of have to watch out for that style composition. Why is that?
They did kind of what they did with the Ariel Resurrect change a while back, where they like double buffed it at the same time. So it used to be it was movement speed and attack speed primarily, and then you got the self healing at 20. But they just baked the self healing in or buffed it or something at the level 10. So that made the level 10 better on its own. But then also at level 20, they made the range and duration double. So it basically hits your whole screen. It's huge. Like you don't have to stand near Rhaegar anymore. You can be wherever. And it lasts for 16 seconds, which is forever.
That is a long time.
Yeah, you can like use it to escape and then tap and then re-engage, and you still have it like the whole fight. Like it's really dumb. So at level 20, it's extra insane, combined with the level 4 or level 10 buff. So yeah.
Well, and with that explanation, that absolutely my answer. So, all right, and finally, DPS, we have Zeratul at 91%. We talked about him earlier, across 11 games, and Phoenix with 70% of the games. Sorry, 70% win rate across 10 games. And of course, we do have an honorable mention here, so I'll mention this honorable person. It's Sylvanas with 69% win rate across 36 games. So a lot more popular, but evening out right around the 69% win rate. Boy, which one do I like? You go. I don't know why I'm not thinking of these right now.
Well, I won't pick Sylvanas because it's only an honorable mention and we don't have the picture. But
that's cheating.
In the least surprising DPS pick of all time, I'm gonna go with Phoenix.
Yeah,
because he's my main. He's like my favorite hero. Play him the most. I gotta champion the cause of Phoenix. Phoenix is good. He's slept on. I can't say much more than that. Like, I've given you all the information that you possibly need to play Phoenix well in my huge guide thing and whatever. If you ever have any questions, feel free to message me. I will help you out because Phoenix needs more wins.
I might have to do that because I don't play either of these heroes. Phoenix, I know, has a niche in the off lane sometimes. that's something that my team's been talking about recently. But I'm going to go Zeratul. Our team's finding a lot of success with Zeratul. I really like the hero, or playing with the hero rather. I don't play him at all, but he seems to be finding a lot of success for us. So I'll go with that one. Easy, right? All right, last Bronzer GM thing here. It's going to be D.Va. Oh, so sorry. Hold on. Whoa. This is Division E heroes. So these ones were getting high win rates. There's not many games played, but we thought it was a very interesting topic here. This is 100% win rate on Nova and D.Va Division E. Which one do you go for?
So yeah, a couple quick mentions here before I actually answer the question. There's only 8 heroes so far that haven't been played in Division C, which are D.Va, Gazlo, Genji, Morales, Nova, Lost Vikings, Valera, and Whitemane. So both D.Va and Nova are one of those 8. So Div C, you gotta match Div E here. You can't let them one up you. You gotta get
by that stat. I know that BMed does not play in Division C, so
but you got to get 2 wins, and they both have to win, no losses. You got to one up Div E. Can't be letting that happen. Anyway, so my pick is going to be D.Va. I think. I know she's slated for WeWork soon TM. But even right now, I think she's kind of good. But I don't really know. She's good, but she's never like amazing, is what it feels like, sort of. But she's also pretty annoying. And Nova really kind of feels underwhelming to me most of the time. So I'm going to go with D.Va. I've gotten cheesed with D.Va at least some number of times. So
I'm going to go with D.Va too. I think we were kind of... Did we follow? No, we split on Rexar and Chen. But otherwise, I think we went the same route, except for your double pick with the healers. But yeah, no, D.Va. I think she's just a fun hero. It's got a great concept. I love playing as her. I don't think she's very good. Certainly not in competitive unless you're building a comp around her, which seems wrong to me. Obviously, Div E has other things in mind here, but I just like D.Va. D.Va just seems a lot of fun. That's it. Any other comments?
Be careful of bombs. Like, I've tried to gorge a bomb. That doesn't work. Don't do that.
I had a Garrosh teammate flip a bomb to me, kill me. That was fun. A lot of fun. So watch out for that. But yeah, otherwise, D.Va's a lot of fun. And before we sign off here, I do want to make a comment. I know some people were asking where were the highlights. So the highlights we were playing during the discussion about C East and C West. So it's definitely something if you want to go back and watch the VOD. Alternatively, ask Linehouse. He could tell you which ones he played during the show. At least for this week's episode, we didn't do like a top 5 analysis real quick. But I know I watched the ones that Linehouse chose for the show, and they were excellent. Would definitely recommend rewatching the VOD if you could. So that's it. That's all the time we have here today. I will see you later. See what I did there? See? Yeah. See? Thought about that pun earlier today. Put that in the show notes. Next week, next week, we're going to be covering Division D. So for all of these, I know a lot of you guys are Division C, but for anyone out there that's Division D, same request that we made last week. Hit us with some highlights if you know some interesting stats. Anything that you think is interesting. Of course, I play in Division D, so I'm hoping that we're going to be able to give some hard-hitting analysis here, just like we did this week. But that is good. So I have nothing else to say. Real Kai, why don't you tell the people where they can find you if they want, for example, that Phoenix guide.
Right. So yeah, I'm Ryokai everywhere. I think it's linked on my Twitch. It's possibly on my Twitter somewhere. Yeah, I have a YouTube page. It's linked on some places there, and I've got a playlist with some gameplay examples and stuff. Yep, that's it for me.
Very good. You can find me on Twitter. I'm TurdHerderHots. Also, you can find me on Twitch. Turd_herder, I believe, is my username. Thinking about picking up streaming, maybe Saturday days. Get it? I'm all about these puns. They're terrible. Yeah, I know. Linehouse is groaning in my mic or in my earphone here. But we'll see. I would like to thank, of course, my co-host Ryokai. You've been excellent, keeping me on my toes. Also, I would like to thank Linehouse, our executive producer, and the man, the myth, the legend, Key, the head analyst, and of course, Falendrith. He had the early Stats of the Storm update this week on Monday. So Key was able to actually circulate those new stats yesterday, I believe. If you haven't checked them out, go ahead and check your division's channel. It should be pinned in there. And this is Turd Herder here saying adios, amigos. Remember to always stay safe in the Nexus and take your hots to the edge.